No, I'm not racist.
But you just said that was racism.
No, I said that. No, I said so. But back to what you said. My father's older than you, and my father's from the South. My father grew up in South Carolina.
Welcome back, y'all. In today's episode, it gets heated fast. Jesse Lee Peterson sits down with the author, Dr. William James, on the Fallen State podcast. And what starts off as a calm convo about race turns into a full-on firestorm. Jesse goes in at the black victim mindset, questions systematic racism, and calls out what he sees as emotional bondage to the past. And Dr. James, he tries to defend it all from slavery to mugshots. But before you react, watch the full thing. Some of y'all might get mad, some might feel vindicated, but everybody's going to feel something. Let's break it down all the way. Let's get into this.
I grew up in Alabama.
Yeah, the South. So my father tells me stories. Shout out to my father. His name is James McKithen. I'll give him a shout out. And my mom, Miss James. But my father's older than you, and he tells me stories about, you know, how he grew up and he worked on a plantation. And he did say, you know, he got along with white Woodwards and stuff. He was there before you.
The white people got along way better than they do today. So the white people are sick of the black people. Everybody.
You said sick and dogs on them? What you say?
I said that white people and black people are along way better than they are today.
You said the water hoses?
I said that white people are sick of the blacks complaining.
You said the lynchings?
So what though?
The lynchings?
Did you know that there were, I think, something like 4,000 blacks who owned slaves?
4,000 blacks who own slaves?
In Kentucky or in those areas.
What source is that? No, what's your source?
One of my hosts talked about it the other day on the show. But you didn't know that.
What's the source?
All your little black supremacy book. You didn't look that up.
No. What source is that?
Let's do this.
That's a lie.
Put it up there.
You ever heard of the book by James Lowe, The Lies My History Teacher Told Me? That would be in it. That's a lie.
Why don't black people just kind of move on with their lives and stop this mess that they're into? If they're superior, why don't they somehow or another let their little superior stuff kick in and stop blaming and living in the past, which had nothing to do with them, by the way. Living in the past and blaming the whites and other. At what point would they say, you know what, we had enough complaining and being victims and talking about this mess. Let's show everybody what we can do. Why don't they forget about the past and live in the present?
Well, the past affects the present.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
Not if you don't live in it.
It's no way to get around it. It does.
Yes, there's a way to get around.
The past is still in the present.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Only in your mind. Only.
Nope. In 2015, in Miami, Florida, they were shooting at in a police department. They were shooting at black civilians' pictures, mugshots, at a police department.
When was this?
In 2015. In Miami, Florida. 2015.
What year is it now?
That's 8 years ago.
What year is it right now?
2023.
But what's the purpose of living in the past?
So yesterday is the past.
What's the purpose of living in yesterday?
You have to know your history in order for history not to repeat itself and to improve yourself.
That's not true.
That is true.
Knowing your history is what makes it things worse. So if black people know they've been talking about this mess for years, right? Knowing their history, why are they still repeating the same thing over and over again?
So the author of Black Supremacy, Dr. James Williams, you know, he opens up with a big shout out to his father, man that grew up in South Carolina. But Jesse Lee challenges that attachment to that pain that is in the present. You know, he says, like, it's not the past holding people back. It's people refusing to leave it behind. You guys believe in that? You guys do? Let me know in the comments, because and then James, he fires back with examples, you know, like mugshots, using police training, racism in Miami, that whole police shooting in 2015, like he said. And then, you know, you got the white privilege, systematic pressure and all of it. But, you know, Jesse isn't buying it. He asks, if the system is that bad, you know, why do we keep recycling the same leaders, same cities, the same excuses? And why, if we're calling ourselves strong and proud, why do we sound broken? It's a brutal question, you know, and it exposes something deeper. We've made trauma part of our identity, and Jesse is asking, what's the cost of that?
They don't know their history. If you know the history that's in this book, they know the history that they want to teach. When we talk about systemic racism, do you know that in 2015?
You believe that racism exists?
Yes.
And what is racism?
I'll tell you. So racism is the unfair treatment of one group of people based on their race, or the belief that one group of people is inferior solely based off their race. So
you are racist for believing that black people are superior to others?
For saying that we have superior resilience.
Are you a racist for believing that black people are superior to all other races, you said?
No, I'm not racist.
But you just said that was racism.
No, I said solely based on race. Mine is not solely based on race.
So you believe...
Mine are based off black accomplishments and black oppression.
So racism is a belief that one race is superior to another, right?
Solely based on race.
But racism is, according to you, a belief that one race is better than the other.
Solely based on race, correct.
And so if white people think they're better because they do better than black people, they see that they're smarter, they're more innovative.
They're not smart.
They're
not more innovative.
They're more or less to blame others and carry on.
No,
Does that make them superior to the blacks?
Nothing you said was true.
Does that make them superior,
no,
racist to the black because they do more?
They don't do more.
They do more.
What do you mean they do more?
They're keeping the country going while black people are chasing them, trying to get it and destroying it.
Destroying what?
Everything they touch.
I'm black. I don't destroy everything I touch.
You may be one black that don't be, but most blacks do.
No, most blacks do what?
Destroy.
Prove that.
Who killed other blacks the most?
Blacks. And who kills other whites the most?
Who turned nice neighborhood?
No.
Who turned nice neighborhood? I'm giving you the
proof. But who kills other whites the most?
Neighborhoods.
That's intellectually dishonest.
Who turned nice neighborhoods into hoods?
Bad people.
Who? Now you change it.
No.
Who turned nice neighborhoods into hoods?
Hood people.
Who are those hood people?
Hoodlums.
I'm giving you a hint.
It's a skin color, but what's the hint there? Which people are those? You ever read the book by
Democrat?
You ever read the book by Thomas Sowell? Is Black Rednecks White Liberal?
So just to read just like some match towards Dr. Williams, you know, he says most black people destroy everything they touch. You know, I think that line is very harsh because I don't feel like you should put every colored person in that category just because some are bad. But just like how some colored people are bad, there are also white people that are bad too. Just like there's Chinese, like there's bad of everything. It's not just one race is bad. But the question still stands. You know, Jesse's not saying black people are doomed. He's saying if we keep excusing failures and calling it oppression, we'll never grow. And when he brings up, you know, the crime, the community collapsing, the cultures, he's not just throwing shade. He's basically just trying to dare us to take ownership in his own old way. You know, and Dr. James tries to shift it back to the hoods and white liberals, but Jesse keeps it grounded and he turns it back saying who turned the neighborhoods into the hoods. And he kind of had Dr. James Williams stumbling his words. Like, that's the uncomfortable part. It isn't about guilt. It's about the power, you know. We're giving it away every time we blame instead of building. So let me ask you this. Do you want power or pity? Because we ain't going to have both. That's just the fact.